Many facility managers treat a health and safety inspection as a subjective appraisal of tidiness, a judgment on how the warehouse looks on a Tuesday morning. In reality, an enforcement officer conducts a forensic investigation. They map the physical state of a facility directly against overlapping frameworks of UK statutory law. The final product of that walkthrough is a formal enforcement letter, a document that translates every observed physical flaw into a specific, legally binding regulatory failure. Rectifying a physical symptom, like picking up a single trip hazard, is insufficient to satisfy the requirements of the law. Inspectors issue these notices to mandate the implementation of preventative systems, correcting the underlying operational architecture that allowed the flaw to occur. To understand this process, we will deconstruct a real health and safety enforcement report to analyze how the law regulates a physical workspace. We will examine 4 critical zones: traffic and floors, work at height, the electrical systems, and baseline risk assessment. Learning the syntax of an enforcement letter shifts a facility from reactive symptom fixing to legal resilience. Our enforcement report begins with the physical ground your employees walk on, governed by the Workplace Health, Safety, and Welfare Regulations 1992. Under Regulation 12, floor surfaces and traffic routes must be free from holes or yielding surfaces. In this report, the inspector cited loose laminate flooring near a stockroom as a legal violation. In environments like a busy commercial kitchen, preventing floor contamination entirely is often an operational impossibility. Because spills are inevitable, compliance relies on managing the combined slip resistance of the floor material and the required footwear provided to staff. This same strict control over floor surfaces extends to the macro hazards of exterior yards and zones. Regulation 17 requires the organization of the site to ensure vehicles and pedestrians can circulate safely. Formal management is required. Having employees assist reversing lorries on public highways without a structured system violates the law. To satisfy Regulation 17, an enforcement officer expects to see engineered traffic management. The layout must provide physical separation, with specific routes delineated exclusively for pedestrian use. Mandatory controls include deploying dedicated banksmen to supervise vehicle movement and enforcing the use of high-vis clothing. Under the 1992 regulations, an unstructured yard is a direct legal liability, requiring the engineered separation of vehicles and people. The enforcement letter next targets vertical hazards under the Work at Height Regulations 2005. Informal practices like standing on chairs to change light bulbs are direct violations of Regulation 6. You must provide suitable, stable access equipment that allows the user to maintain a handhold. When inspectors find broken tools, they cite the Provision and Use of Work Equipment Regulations 1998. Pure Regulation 5 dictates that equipment must be maintained in an efficient state and in good repair. Here is a stepladder with a damaged center support. Ad hoc repairs, such as replacing a ladder strut with wire and string, instantly violate Pure. To remain legally compliant, any repair must strictly align with the manufacturer's original specifications. Vertical risk also extends to falling objects, which are governed by Work at Height Regulation 10. Stacking irregularly shaped stock boxes higher than head height on a busy shop floor creates a direct legal hazard. Inspectors also require verification of the structural integrity of hidden areas, like false ceilings, before allowing maintenance staff access to them. Gravity multiplies liability. Whether an employee is climbing or a box is falling, the law demands engineered stability and strict manufacturer compliance. The investigation moves to the facility's hidden infrastructure, focusing on the Electricity at Work Regulations 1989. Regulation 4.2 defines a system as all electrical equipment and its energy source, requiring it to be maintained to prevent danger. Compliance requires a tiered, scheduled approach to maintenance. On the long cycle, fixed installations, the building's wiring, must undergo inspection and testing by a qualified electrician every 5 years. On the short cycle, portable appliances, like kettles, require annual testing by a competent person. Between these formal tests, an inexpensive system of regular visual inspections is required to check for signs of overheating, such as brown marks on leads. Equipment failing this visual check must be immediately labeled and taken out of service. Electrical compliance is established through a strict, multi-tiered testing schedule that anticipates wear and tear. The ultimate umbrella legislation is the Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulations 1999. Under Regulation 3, identifying a hazard is only the first step. You must manage it through a formalized risk assessment. Any employer with 5 or more employees is legally required to formally record all of the significant findings of these assessments. These records must encompass all foreseeable risks, including secondary hazards like manual handling or lone working. These assessments must also account for biological health risks, such as potential exposure to parasites or droppings from pest infestations. These documents must be dynamic, requiring a review whenever there is a significant change in operations. This systemic documentation also covers maintaining accurate accident books and RIDDOR reporting, creating a complete paper trail of facility health. A recorded risk assessment is the proof of competency telling an inspector you control your environment. Zooming out, we can see the overarching philosophy that guides a health and safety enforcement officer. Inspectors recognize that no active facility is devoid of risk at every moment. Their investigation focuses on resilient systems designed to manage inevitable failures. The letter identifies 3 pillars of compliance. First, documented maintenance of tools and electrical grids. Second, physical separation of hazards, controlling drops and traffic. Third, comprehensive risk analysis, bridging all operations. System fixing ensures long-term operational legality, whereas symptom fixing only guarantees future citations. Viewed correctly, an enforcement letter provides the precise, legally backed technical requirements for ensuring a business remains operationally resilient.